Hi friends, I am Prairie Vintage Jewelry. My name is Linda. I'm an energy and intuitive reader here on YouTube. I use my intuition and spirits to communicate energies to you as they sit at the time of the reading. And I will be doing a little bit more of a dark type reading, okay? A little controversial, and if you're easily triggered, then this reading is most definitely not for you. However, I do not shy away from controversial topics, and my floor is always open to opinion. This isn't meant to be a political debate, but it certainly is meant to trigger an awareness and a conversation in regards to an awakening, okay? And I do have very strong opinions as far as my own experience and my own awakening in regards to this topic. We'll be taking a look at how COVID or the pandemic has impacted your life specifically, okay? So how has this changed your life? Any sort of opportunities that have come your way? Any sort of challenges that have impacted your life negatively due to this pandemic? Now, like I mentioned, I don't shy away from this topic. However, I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. So if there is any sort of opposing opinions, I'm totally okay with that. And if you're triggered by someone else's opinion or someone else's words, then this channel certainly is not for you. Okay, so might lose some subscribers. I'm okay with that. Maybe we can stick to why Steve is thinking about you or why Tommy isn't contacting you. But I am looking at the truth of the matter here, which is what has significantly impacted you in the last 3 years, almost 3 years, in this tumultuous time, challenging time perhaps for a lot of us, and what sort of benefits did we gain from this whole situation. And now, just to state for the record, I am a true believer of freedom of choice, freedom of speech, and I am also a believer that there are individuals and governing bodies that want to control and gain power and gain, control, power. I mean, obviously they can gain financially as well, but I really think it comes down to control and power over other individuals where it may benefit them. That is my belief, okay? And I'm also, like I said, freedom of choice, freedom of speech, and that's where I stand strong. So everyone is welcome here, and as long as you're okay with difference of opinions, then that is cool, okay? If you have a challenge with other people's opinions that contradict yours, then this channel, like I said, is not for you. And I can't stress that enough, because I'm sure this will be a little triggering for some people, okay? So 3 piles to choose from. We have pile number 1, which is this Dante Tarot. Okay, pile number 2, we have this deluxe tarot cards with the Prism edition here. And pile number 3, we have the Murder of Crows. All right, so we'll be looking at how this pandemic, COVID-19, has impacted your life in the last almost 3 years and what that's resulted in your life. So I will see you at your timestamp, okay? See you in a bit. Hello, beautiful pile number 1, my brave, beautiful pile number 1 who's listened to my trigger warnings and remained strong in listening to this reading. So bless you guys. This topic is not easy. It is a dark topic, and something I do not shy away from. And I do believe that people have freedom of choice and freedom of speech to communicate how they are feeling in regards to this topic. And right now we're asking spirits to take a look at how COVID-19 or this pandemic has impacted your life in the last 3 years. Okay, so I know the situation certainly did exist, so there certainly has been ramifications, but there might be opportunities that resulted. And that is true. The reason I do air quotes is because this may or may not be for some of you guys. I mean, really, at the end of the day, no one knows the truth as far as what constitutes as a true pandemic. All right, so let's take a look at what the ramifications have been that have been instilled and forced upon you in the last 3 years. We got the Two of Swords. We've got the Queen of Wands. We got the Moon. We got the Seven of Swords. And we got the Six of Cups. So why is the Two of Swords here, Spirit? We have the Ace of Wands. And we have the Ten of Pentacles. Oh, sorry, the Nine of Pentacles. All right. We have the Three of Pentacles. We have the Knight of Swords. And we have a card go flying over here, which is the King of Swords. And then we got 2 cards also popping up here, which is the Sun and the Strength. Okay. So I'm not reading any reversals, but I will pick up any sort of blockages. And we have the Star here. All right. I think I'm liking this pile for the most part. So we see here there being an indecision, an inability to act. Okay. So this Two of Swords talks about having information and maybe burying your head in the sand, not being able to move one way or another or make a decision. So potentially you felt like you were stuck between a rock and a hard place with an inability to act. Okay, now there was this, with the Ace of Wands, this desire to move forward and make a decision and inspire action towards what it is that you wanted to do or believed you wanted to drive towards, and maybe you felt like you were held back in some sort of capacity or you were unable to move, which makes sense with all the restrictions and limitations. Maybe you were coming into a business idea or some sort of inspired idea that you wanted to act upon, but you felt as though you couldn't quite make a move. Okay, now we do see this Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Wands talks about the law of attraction and bringing in what it is that she wants to attract. With the Wands here, I do see you being quite the passionate person when it comes to driving forward with your desires and your career. And I also see you as a very independent person here. So what I'm seeing is that because this question is how this pandemic has impacted you in the last 3 years, I feel as though you've become more of an entrepreneurial body, relying on yourself and your own fulfillment when it comes to emotional stability and when it comes to providing your own security. I feel like you potentially feel as though you were at the mercy of other people, so you're unable to act. Okay, you were stuck between a rock and a hard place. You wanted the ability to stand in your own power. And here I'm feeling with the Three of Pentacles talking about collaboration, working with others. It was a struggle here. Okay, it was a big challenge. All these 3 individuals are not working together. One's focused here. These 2 are arguing. This was totally resembling, 2 years ago or whatever, what have you, a year and a half ago, how tumultuous situations could be with other individuals who might have had other opinions, maybe didn't want to quite work with you. And it was a challenge to collaborate and coordinate working with other individuals in order to bring some form of financial stability. Okay, there was also a lot of illusion, so maybe you felt like you didn't quite know. There's a lot of tiptoeing, don't quite know how people feel. Do people want to work with me? How are they feeling? The Moon talks about, things kind of not quite looking as they are because of the moonlight casting shadows in certain areas. So there was a lot of mystery. Maybe even you felt like there were areas that you weren't quite certain of. I feel like it was really around emotion, so you weren't quite sure how people felt, if people were being honest, up and up. Lots of challenge here with the Seven of Swords. We see lots of conflict, okay? People arguing with each other, people maybe being defensive, some people's feelings really hurt, other people getting really, really hurt, okay? I feel like this Seven of Swords talks about deception and potentially people maybe doing things for their own good and not considering other people's opinions, other people's rights, other people's ability to get what it is that they want. So I feel like there was a lot of that, which feels very tumultuous and heavy. And I feel like your energy here coming as this Knight of Swords is somebody who is ready to face challenge. You're ready to have tough discussions. You're ready to face any challenges. I think you're already kind of made your decision and you're standing independent and strong as far as what it is that you believed in order to provide yourself security. Okay, and I feel this is really around financial security and abundance, which might have been your top priority, rather than emotions, rather than feelings, rather than all sorts of things that were going on. I felt like you were ready to face challenge and you were ready to battle anybody who questioned or stood in your way in regards to what it was that was going to bring you financial stability. Okay, now I see here with the Eight of Cups, this is walking away from something that maybe emotionally at one point fulfilled you and didn't, at the state of where you had to walk away and leave a situation. So potentially this pandemic made you realize where you might have been emotionally invested in an area that just wasn't quite doing it anymore for you. I feel for this pile specifically, you potentially left your job or working for someone else to find something that was a little bit more freeing for your own independence. Okay, and I also feel with this card here, this being like this girl here and all these kind of guys standing around, I felt there was this sense of vulnerability. Maybe you felt at the mercy of your employer. You felt like your employer was dangling this key, you know, do as I say in order to have your freedom. You might have felt very vulnerable, like your emotions were kind of at the mercy of other people here who might have seemed like they might have strong-armed you in some sort of capacity, right, with all these males and this female here. But I feel like she is fairly focused. I feel like she stood strong in what it was that she believed in. Okay, and I also feel like here with this King of Swords talking about intellect, okay, and almost a knowing. Like the King of Swords is very intelligent and uses their intellect to make decisions, and they're very rational, okay? And I see him with the blindfold here. So it's almost like you had to be blind to all of this activity that was going on around you, maybe to some deception here, maybe to some fighting and all of that stuff in order to stay true to what you logically knew was right and what you logically knew to be the right decision for you to stand in your power and make decisions as a king of swords would, around logic, not around emotions, not around fear. Okay, and I feel like you've been consistently in the know as far as the Sun card talks about clarity, talks about this brightness. I feel like you carried this lightness, this brightness about you, and I feel like you exited the period of this pandemic in the last 3 years with this energy of brightness, contentment, knowing that you stayed true and strong to your convictions, okay? Strong against maybe feeling like you were trying to be deceived in some sort of way, maybe trying to be bullied in some sort of way, emotionally, mentally, exhausted, battling, bullied, maybe coerced in some sort of way. Okay, I do feel like you stood true and you were ready to battle. I don't feel like you had to go into battle. I feel like you were prepared. I feel like because you were ready to make all these decisions based on logic, that you came out on top with this Sun card and this Strength card, and both of these cards are screaming heavy Leo, so you might resonate with Leo. Plus we have lots of wands here, which is also Leo. We have Cancer, okay? And with the Star here, this is absolutely coming out on top as far as what it was that you knew to be true and maybe what you held on to as a belief at the very initial stages. And what I think positively came out of that was your independence, your ability to stand strong in your own success, and your ability to heal yourself okay, despite maybe not having the full support that you needed around this time. And here we have the 10 of Wands, a very heavy burden. This was very overloaded with, charged with not only emotions, but a burden of potentially losing your career, losing your freedom, losing your independence. And I feel like you stood strong. And in this card, she is naked. So I feel like you stood strong, vulnerable, but still able to stay true to what it is that you believe to be the right path for you. And this is an absolute beautiful reading here, pile number 1. I can resonate with this. Love you guys so much. Thank you for sticking around. Leave a comment, leave a like, and we will see you soon. Bye. Hello, my beautiful pile number 2. If you stuck around for this reading, bless you. I know this is controversial and potentially a topic that people might even want to shy away from, but you are certainly here to hear how COVID-19 and the pandemic has impacted your life in the last 2-3 years. Now I use these air quotes because, I mean, certainly we might have been experiencing a pandemic based on, you know, others maybe imposing their will or their sort of unlawful actions upon us. But I want to see how this impacted you, and maybe it provided opportunity for you. Maybe it's made you realize some stuff. Maybe it's caused nothing but pain, but we're asking Spirit for a clear and concise message for pile number 2 in regards to how the COVID-19 pandemic last 3 years has impacted pile 2. Thank you so much, Spirit, and thank you so much, pile number 2, for allowing me to tap into your energies. All right, we have the Lovers. Ooh, very passionate. We have the 6 of Wands. We have the 2 of Wands, we have the High Priestess, and we have the 9 of Wands. Wow, okay, I'm loving this energy so far. I apologize if you can't really see these cards. They are, yeah, they are kind of holographic, and in this light, it might be difficult to make them out. All right, Spirit, can we clarify the Lovers? We have the 3 of Wands. Clarify the 6 of Wands. We have the 7 of Cups, clarifying the 2 of Wands. We have the King of Cups, clarifying this High Priestess. We have the Magician. And let's clarify this 9 of Wands. And we have the Ace of Wands. All right, bottom of the deck, I have this 3 of Cups. So I feel you are very, 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 very passionate about what was been going on in the last 3 years, okay? With the Lovers here, this is a major arcana. Same with the Magician, major arcana, High Priestess, major arcana. I feel as though this is a situation in which kind of took a life of its own, okay? And I feel like maybe at times you felt like you weren't really in control. I mean, who really felt in control at times during this pandemic, but more so as though you had this drive or this calling as to what it was that you were supposed to be doing, okay? Now, I feel with this 3 of Wands is talking about the future. I feel like there was a lot of future consideration as far as what your future would look like, okay, because of this whole situation. And I felt like what was really driving you was this need to come out on top, this need to be victorious with the 6 of Wands, okay? This is talking about being victorious, coming out on top, and really succeeding through a challenging time. I feel as though maybe potentially you didn't really know where this was going to lead, but you knew that you had to make a decision in order to be successful. And I feel like there were a lot of decisions, okay, a lot of which ways that you could potentially go with the 7 of Cups that maybe you were emotionally tied to, but very confused, okay? So you were confused because maybe there was a lot of information going on that made you feel certain ways at certain times. So I feel like there was a lot of feelings involved, maybe up and down, not quite sure what it was that you needed to decide on in order to be successful during this time. I feel like it came down to 2 options at some point here, okay? And one of those options was to follow your emotions and what it was that you absolutely felt was right for you, okay? The Cups talks about this deep emotion, and the 2 of Wands talks about, you know, 2 options that might impact your future, which way you want to go, a crossroads. Okay, and I feel like there was this knowing that you were manifesting your future here, dependent on whichever option you chose. You were kind of laying the groundwork as far as what was going to lay ahead for a pathway for you, depending on which option. Okay, this one, Lovers, talks about options. Two of Wands talks of options. Magician talks about manifesting and creating your own desires. But because the Magician is a major arcana, this is all the suits. This is Wands, Swords, Cups, and Pentacles. So this impacted every aspect of your life. Okay, this would impact your relationships. This would impact your employment. This would impact your mental health. This would impact everything. And there was a knowing with the High Priestess. Okay, there was this knowing. This the High Priestess talks about this ability to maybe know what's brewing under the surface of the subconscious that maybe people aren't really talking about. Maybe it's something you're not talking about, but that you're aware of. That's creating this feeling. Okay, and I feel like with this Nine of Wands, you stood your ground. You stood your ground in what it was that you believed in, despite getting maybe going through battle. This is the wounded warrior. The Nine of Wands talks about going through battle, coming out on the other end, standing their ground, standing maybe broken, but still standing their ground and standing in their truth and willing to defend whatever they have left. And with this Ace of Wands, I feel like you are very inspired to do this based on your desire of love, because we have this King of Cups, which is strong emotions. You know, maybe your love of humanity, maybe your love of self, maybe your love of where you wanted to see yourself here in the future with this Three of Wands. And the Three of Cups also talks about being able to celebrate. I feel like there was this desire and this feeling so close to your network, which is a blessing because not a lot of people can say this, close to their network of support, friends, family, coming together at a time where a pandemic would have torn people apart. I feel like has brought you together with a lot of people. You're able to celebrate people in your life, really see people for who they truly are. But I feel like you were pleasantly surprised because I see here with the Three of Cups, there was this unity and this coming together. So instead of pulling apart, there's a coming together. There was a deep, deep love here, okay, which is absolutely beautiful. Lovers is Gemini. King of Cups is water, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Okay, and I feel like, yeah, for a lot of you guys, I feel like this was a period of time where maybe you can look back and see yourself as victorious, as planning for a future, as making a decision that you feel like maybe you didn't really have a choice in, that you just kind of had to make, and that you feel like there was this knowing, okay, that you were kind of bringing in what your future would look like here based on your decisions that you would press forward with. And the Fool signifying this, I think there was this knowing with the High Priestess and the Magician that you would start over in some capacity, okay, starting over, rebuilding if you had to, maybe rebuilding friendships, rebuilding these connections if you had to at some point in time. But this is how I see the pandemic impacting you in the last 3 years. You sound like a fairly strong person, driven by intuition and really driven by your passions. So bless you, pile number 2. Thank you so much for stopping by. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I will see you soon. Bye. Hello, my beauts. If you pick pile number 3, this Murder of Crows, then this will be your reading, and this is a controversial topic, so pat on the back to you for sticking around here. Like I said, a lot of people might shy away from such topics. This is a darker reading, and I'm certain I'll probably lose a few subscribers, but I do not shy away from what I believe in, and I believe in freedom of choice and freedom of speech. So this is an open platform from my perspective. Obviously, YouTube might have their own restrictions, but what we're asking here is for Spirit to give a clear and concise message as far as how this pandemic, COVID, has impacted your life in the last 3 years. Now I use air quotes because, I mean, it certainly was a pandemic of sorts because people were either bullied or controlled in such a way that they had to impact their lifestyle. And that is my belief. I do believe that, you know, people in power can certainly create situations in which to draw in more power, whether it is legitimate or not. And I am entitled to my opinion, and as are you. So let's take a look at how this impacted your life, for the positive, for the negative, what sort of opportunities came about, or what sort of challenges might have came about during the last 3 years for you that you've experienced due to this this pandemic. Okay, thank you so much, Spirit, clear and concise message, and thank you so much, pile number 3, for allowing me to tap into your energy. All right, so what do we have? We have the Two of Wands, and we have the Queen of Wands. We have the Moon. We have the Five of Pentacles. Not reading any reversals, but I will pick any blockages or note anywhere that Spirit is calling out. We have the Page of Swords. We have Strength. We have the Two of Swords. We have the Seven of Pentacles. We have the Ten of Wands. And we also have the Three of Swords. And we have the Nine of Cups on the bottom of the deck. Wow. So out of all 3 piles, I feel like you were potentially the most challenged here with pain, okay? Although I see a heavy, heavy strength within you, pile number 3. Okay, let's start from the beginning. So with the Two of Wands, we see there needing to be a choice, okay? There needing to be a crossroad, or facing a crossroads and needing to pick which way that you envisioned your future, okay? And potentially you were considering in the last 3 years of moving, okay? Because you were looking to the future as far as where it is that you wanted to invest the rest of your life, or at least move towards living. Okay, which was a heavy contemplation for you. I feel like you being this Queen of Wands here, which is fire, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. There's more heavy Leo over here as well. And we do have some Cancer, I believe, or is this Pisces? Either way, we have moon energy here. But I feel like you coming in as this Aries, Leo, Sagittarius energy, really wanted to be in control, okay? You really wanted to drive after what it was that you wanted. And I feel like for yourself, it was being in control of your future, being in control of your options, being in control of where you live, being in control of how you were able to travel. I feel like travel was a big, important piece for you in this whole thing, but potentially maybe your employment required it, okay? Because what I feel has got impacted was your financial abundance. So you could have potentially lost some money or a business that you were driving because of this state of affairs. With the moon, there is fear. There's also deception. There's also hidden truths. And I feel like with the Five of Pentacles, there is this lack, this poverty, being felt left out in the cold. And maybe your business was one that never really got the full support that it needed in an area that required. Okay, so maybe you were part of a travel type agency, or maybe your business required some sort of traveling. And I feel like you stood strong in your convictions here with the Page of Swords. You're able to stand up and have challenging conversations. Although feeling like a page, I feel like you were still learning and gathering information. You never quite felt like you knew enough, or you never quite felt like you were knowledged enough or had enough information in order to really start battling, but more of wanting to go into battle, wanting to put yourself in a position of learning information and wanting to face truths and have tough discussions. I feel like you're really struggling here with this strength card. You could have, because this is major arcana, so we have major arcana here. So I feel like you were potentially in a situation where you couldn't let any fears control the situation, or any of your maybe desires or where you were invested impact your decisions as far as what you wanted to have as far as outcome. I feel like you were really controlled as well. Okay, you're really controlled. Maybe you felt as though you didn't quite know as much information, so you couldn't quite go into a situation and unleash, so to speak. So you had to remain calm, you had to remain controlled. But I do feel like you felt like your hands were tied a lot of the times here with this Two of Swords. You were unable to move. You had to even maybe bury your head in the sand because you were just unable to act. Either you felt as though, your hands were tied and there was no way to press forward. But I feel like you did have information, okay, because the Two of Swords talks about having all the information needed in order to make a decision. And maybe you just felt like you were struggling with what that looked like, and maybe you felt kind of like a novice here with the amount of information you had. I also feel like you had heavy investments. Maybe you have heavy investment in your business, so depending on which way you went, maybe if you didn't abide by certain ways of rules coming down upon you, caused you to be a little bit suspicious, caused a lot of fear, but you felt as though you had so much investment that you're like, what do I do? Do I pull away? I can't really go this way or that way without either sacrificing what I've put in here of my hard-earned cash, my blood, sweat, and tears. Okay, this is a very heavy time with the Ten of Wands. This talks about a burden. This talks about carrying a heavy load. Potentially have to carry other people's load financially, emotionally, and with Wands, it talks about career. So I feel like it was more with employment. Okay, talking about employment, carrying a burden, maybe you were self-employed. And I feel with this Three of Swords, this talks about heartache. Okay, having to part or be separated from something that we love. And I feel like at some point in time, you have to separate from your career. Maybe you have to separate from your business. Maybe you have to separate from something that, was your emotional fulfillment, which could very well speak about your business. Could very well speak about, where you invested all of your emotional energy, and then having to kind of sit there idle and feel burdened by this kind of falling apart in some capacity, not being able to really drive in, having to control maybe parts of yourself that wanted to know more about how to guide in there and steer a situation. But there's a lot of unknowns here with the moon. Maybe you felt like there was a lot of things hidden from you. Okay. And yeah, here we have the King of Pentacles. I feel like you have been this King of Pentacles as a result of being this Queen of Wands. And the King of Pentacles talks about, this solid, stable, committed, very secure position in life when it comes to finances and abundance and what they've built for themselves, because of your ability to be very driven, focused on career, going after what you want, manifesting and bringing in what you want for yourself. And I feel like all of this was kind of compromised and very challenging for you in the last 3 years. So let's take a clarifier here for this Three of Swords, because I'm very curious to see how you kind of manage this heartache, what ended up happening here with this Three of Swords. If you did indeed lose a business here, because I am seeing the Wands here. Maybe you lost somebody that you loved somehow in the last 3 years. Let's see, what does this heartache or separation? You have Eight of Cups. You have to walk away from something that emotionally fulfilled you. And here we have the Seven of Wands. Okay, so Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Wands, something you struggled, labored very hard for. You might have felt like you were fighting against every single red tape, okay? And you had to walk away emotionally because there's just too much red tape, too many restrictions, too many things in against you that wasn't in your favor, that you just had to walk away from something emotionally fulfilling. that resulted in heartache, heartbreak, overbearing. Bless you. I'm sorry you lost your business. I'm sorry if you lost something that you invested your time, you felt unable to act. Leave a comment, and I feel like you are potentially well on your way to creating your next best thing. And I love you guys so much. Leave a like, leave a comment, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.